everybody. Thank you for tuning in and coming back to another episode of The Night Raven. Like I always say in previous episodes, this is for truth seekers, storytellers, and lovers of the unknown. If you like the mystery, the paranormal, and everything else that's out there, you're in the right place, and this will be a sanctuary for you. So make sure to tune in, like, and subscribe. This is kind of like a potluck of everything strange and weird. So make sure to check into all of the episodes. And today I have a really good friend of mine with me. His name is Rupert. There is not enough good I can say about him. He is such a supporter and such a trooper. While I know what I know about him, he is an alien expert, and I don't talk about aliens on Earth or the people. We will talk about extraterrestrials, and he's such an expert, and he is so sought after. But he was still kind enough to make time for me today, so thank you so much for being here. And I don't want to introduce him because I would let him do it because I know he has so many credentials and I know I probably forget half of it. So I will let him introduce himself so he gets the proper introduction. So thank you, Rupert, if you want to tell everybody about yourself a little bit.
Thank you very much, Bettina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a qualified space scientist. I have a first-class
Mhm.
honors degree in physics with space science and technology from the University of Leicester in England. I went on to do X-ray astrophysics research utilizing space-based X-ray telescopes. So I have a very scientific background, but I have spent my entire life researching all aspects of reality, including paranormal or supernatural, aliens, ghosts, spirits, all of that stuff. And I travel around the country. I am a paranormal investigator, a UFO researcher, and I host events during which we meditate and we reach out and we connect telepathically with different entities. We astrally project through the universe and all around the earth, trying to connect with these beings. And the bottom line for me, that my reason for doing this is it's all about peace and love and well-being. It's non-discriminatory. I have a vision that is universal peace, universal love, universal well-being. So that's me in a nutshell.
Hallelujah. That's what we all should strive for. Universal love and peace. I'm all about that. So thank you for putting yourself out there and for the mission, I guess. So I guess you guys can guess what we're talking about today, and that will be aliens. And like I said in my short intro, it's not the aliens that we encounter here on Earth. It's not about human beings. It's about extraterrestrials. So I have I have two really off questions for you, Rupert. And there may be some scientific answers, I don't know, but that's something I always thought about and I would like to get your take on that, okay? The first question is, let's just imagine we can shoot a rocket into space from the North Pole, but also from the South Pole. So you basically fly or go into two different directions, correct? So one goes up, one goes down. So if you just keep going, do you think you would find different planets going each way? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? I mean, we know all these planets that we have in our solar system, you know, like Pluto, Venus, Neptune, the sun, and all of that. But I mean, what if we go into different directions? Would we find something else out there, do you think?
Yes, we would. Our solar system is the planets are in one plane,
Uh-huh.
mostly in one plane, and but there are hundreds of billions of
Mm-hmm.
stars throughout our galaxy, and they're
Mm-hmm.
all oriented differently, and some are higher up than we are, and some are lower down. They're all over the place. So any direction you
Right.
would travel in, you would encounter these stars, and around probably most, if not all of these stars, there are planets.
Wow. I mean, that's just so much just thinking about that gives you just such a different perspective of how vast this universe really is. It's not linear. It's not like one level. It's just like all over and everywhere. And there's just so many options or possibilities for different planets and different, I guess, species to exist, you know?
Definitely.
So,
Actually, one thing you can do if ever you meet a life form is ask them to point in which direction they think is up. And the lesser species will go like this, like
up.
probably humans would do. But then, in different places around the Earth, up is in different directions. So maybe then you should go to the plane of the solar system, and you point, towards north. Maybe
Yeah.
that would be up. But then if you go to the plane of the galactic, it's going to be a different up.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Exactly. That's so fascinating to think about that.
yeah.
Wow. So, the other question I have, when I was growing up, science and the paranormal never got along. Okay. It was all either you were a scientist or went the other way. And since you are both, I was wondering, I mean, these days, as I get older, I feel like the lines between science and the paranormal is much more blurry than it was in years back. So, is it because science is now catching up and can now measure or prove things that they were not able to prove before? Or why do you think that is? And were you always into the paranormal even though you were a scientist? Or was there something that kind of you encountered or you experienced? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah. Well, reality is reality.
Mm-hmm.
And science is an attempt to model reality, to understand reality. And some people misunderstand science. Some people think that science is just like a belief system, but it
Mm-hmm.
really isn't. Science is something that you prove about reality. And
Oh.
so, uh, true science is, I envisage it like an expanding sphere as we learn more science
Mm-hmm.
into into reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so science is based on logic, and logic is the process of making deductions that have to be correct. So true science is valid, is real, is correct. What a lot of people um, I think there's a lot of problems because there's a lot of people out there in the world who pretend to use science, but they're twisting it in order
Mm,
to
okay.
meet their own political agendas, religious agendas, moral, philosophical agendas. And so a lot of people don't have this very clear picture of science being real.
Mm-hmm.
They see it as something that is a manipulation. Um, but I see true science as being real. It's a true modeling of
Yeah.
reality. But reality is much bigger, and it has always been much bigger than our knowledge of science.
Gotcha.
And every day, scientists are learning new things about reality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and therefore, I envisage this sphere of science expanding outwards. Now, it does continually expand outwards. And I think the more that science learns, um, the the more it will expand into those areas of reality that we call paranormal or spiritual or supernatural.
Gotcha.
And I think there is, I mean, ultimately in the future, I think that science will be a full understanding and appreciation of quite possibly everything, including paranormal and spiritual.
Yeah.
Um, one of the difficulties that I encounter a lot is that when something is unknown,
Mm-hmm.
when it's something that can't be proved, then people come up with ideas, theories, and guesses, and they become very attached to those ideas, theories, and
Yeah.
guesses, and then they believe.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about belief is you can believe anything at all,
Yeah.
no matter how
Yep.
nonsensical. And so there is always this conflict as science does expand out into the realm of people's beliefs. There is this conflict between
Mm-hmm.
science and belief systems.
Gotcha.
Um, I would say, that that's more a problem with the concept with the concept of belief and
Mm-hmm.
how people acquire those beliefs rather than uh, having a problem with science itself.
Yeah. So you can believe in science, but still believe in the paranormal or spirit. So one does not exclude the other. Would you say that's true?
Well, there's two different ways that we can
Mm-hmm.
accept something as being true.
Okay.
One is with proof,
Mm-hmm.
one is without proof.
Mm-hmm.
If you accept something as being true because it's been proved to you, then it's no longer a belief, it's knowledge. If you
Okay.
accept something as being true that has not been proved to you, then what you've got there is a belief.
Wow.
Now, I'm probably going to annoy some people when I say this, but
That's okay.
beliefs are invalid.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting something as being true that you don't know to be true, that's an invalidity. That's an intellectual mistake. So
Wow.
so this is one of the and when you look at the history of beliefs on this planet and
Mm-hmm.
the incredible conflict and pain and suffering that has resulted from these beliefs, you know, we can put this into perspectives. Beliefs are not good.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do when I go and research paranormal, supernatural, metaphysical things is um, I investigate, I acquire knowledge, evidence,
Mm-hmm.
and and I don't I don't warp that evidence into a belief. I warp it into theories, ideas, guesses that I know I haven't proved yet. And then sometimes I am able to prove something. Like I have been able to prove that yes, there's an afterlife, that yes, we can talk to spirits, that yes,
Yes.
there are these non-human entities out there. Um, so you know that's my perspective on the difference
Got
between belief and
understand.
knowledge.
That is a good one. I like that. I really like that. That's a profound answer. So thank you. Um, that would lead me into religion, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole today because we're talking about aliens. So, um, the other part of my question was, did you always believe in aliens or in the paranormal as a scientist, or was there something that kind of nudged you, or kind of, sometimes things happen to people and they're like, okay, now I believe it. Does that make sense? So I'm wondering if there was something that happened to you, something that you saw or observed, or something. What made you believe in extraterrestrials or in the
Mm,
paranormal? Was it the
yeah.
process?
Well, I would say that I have no beliefs.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so I don't believe in anything.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a new
Um,
one, Rupert.
I believe in nothing at all. Um, but there's a lot that I know, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot that I know that I don't know. Uh,
Gotcha.
one of the wisest things we can say is, "I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my process in gaining knowledge has, with respect to the paranormal and supernatural, is I've looked at the evidence. We look at the
Mm-hmm.
evidence. We look at what people say. We look at what people experience with, say, near-death experiences or
Mm-hmm.
alien abductions or UFO sightings. I look at all of the evidence
Mm-hmm.
and I look and see, is the nature of that evidence strong enough that it proves anything? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Um, but I go out there and I try and investigate it myself.
Yes, you do.
So there became a point fairly early on in my life where there's so much evidence for example, the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to you can't just discount it.
Gotcha. Yes.
It's you can't prove it to be wrong because the more you look into it, the more and more evidence there is. And then you get to the point where logically you can prove it to be true. Um, for example, if you go and talk to a medium or somebody like yourself who
Mm-hmm.
can connect with spirits, and you can
Mm-hmm.
ask certain spirits a certain question, and the medium can give you an answer from the spirits, and then whoa, I know that answer constitutes proof
Wow.
um, that we're communicating with, say, my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I once connected to one of my grandmothers through a medium, and
Mm-hmm.
we asked, "Well, can you tell us something?" And I was there with my mother. Can you tell us something um, from my grandmother to help us to know that we're really talking to my grandmother?
Yeah.
and a date was given to us.
Mm-hmm.
And the date that was given to us was my mother's birthday.
Wow.
Things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not 100% proof, but you get 2 or 3 hits like that, and it's so unlikely not to be
Yeah.
true.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Um,
I
and
understand.
with UFOs and aliens, if you
Mm-hmm.
look into the Roswell incident, for example,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much evidence there that it does constitute logical proof that, yes, something crashed in Roswell and aliens are real.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me, the real proof in uh, in aliens that I received was about 5 years ago, where I was
Mm-hmm.
hosting an online meeting with a group of maybe about 20 people in a Zoom meeting, and we astrally projected out into the universe, and we asked, "Are there any beings out there who are healing beings who would be willing to come in and give us some kind of spiritual or alien healing?"
Mm-hmm.
And during this meditation, several people all saw the same being, looking the same way, holding babies and with children around her.
Wow.
And when I asked this being, "What is your name?" several people all heard, perceived psychically, spiritually the same name, Tuk
Wow.
Tuk.
Okay.
And at that point, I realized we have just logically proved the existence of an alien being called Tuk Tuk. And we didn't know much about Tuk Tuk, but we had established that Tuk Tuk is real. And then we continued from there to try and learn more about her.
Wow. And the proof was because it wasn't just one person, but it was several people independently saying the same things, correct? That's what.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Wow. That's
And
that's
it turned out to be over multiple
right.
meetings with different
Mm-hmm.
people too. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's so exciting. Well, let's get deeper into the alien extraterrestrial things. How many species do you think? That's probably a really open question, but how many do you think are out there? I mean, do you think like thousands or I
Yeah.
mean, it's almost unimaginable, I guess, when you think how vast the universe is,
Yeah.
right? But how many different species do we know of or do we have proof of that they exist?
Yeah.
Do you have an answer to that or like maybe a speculation as to how many that we know of?
Well, if you think about how many different species of organisms there are on our planet alone,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
and then
You're
you
right.
multiply that by how many planets
Yeah.
there are in the universe, probably, and sure, not all of them are going to contain life,
Yeah.
but still, even if you do the math, you end up with
Yes.
countless trillions of different
You're right.
species that are
You're
out there.
absolutely right. I never even thought that far. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Wow.
so there's there's different categories of aliens, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say. One category are those that are fairly close to us. Uh, Often people perceive them as being humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't call those extraterrestrials because they're probably not. Um, they're genetically engineered biological environment suits for higher consciousnesses. Um,
Oh.
so those are the humanoids that are around us.
Wow.
But then you've got the whole of the rest of the universe, and
Yes.
then you've got
Uh-huh.
these
Yeah, of
true
course.
extraterrestrials. Tuk Tuk, the one that I talked about, she is a true extraterrestrial. She lives on a far off world in a double ocean, a double layer ocean with two immiscible liquids sitting on top of each other. It's
Wow.
people think of oceans, they think of water, but that's not
Right.
the only kind of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
chemicals
Right.
out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but your question was about how many that we've been able to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Proof, people claim on the
Claim.
Earth,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
people claim to have proof of 63 or something like that different
Wow.
species. I've heard
Wow.
that number thrown
Mm-hmm.
around. But proof is something that has to happen to individuals.
Okay.
Um, we can all do math, so we can all prove things
Sure.
mathematically. We can prove that x is equal to, say,
Mm-hmm.
6.
Mhm.
um, we can all actually learn science if we put our
Mhm.
mind to it, and so
Mhm.
we can prove the reality of science put to ourselves personally. Um, when we prove things to ourselves, then we gain knowledge.
Mhm.
When somebody else, like a scientist, tells you things, they might have had something been proved to them, but them
Mhm.
telling us is not proof to us, and they might be lying. So, so then the question becomes, how many different species of aliens have been proved to me
Mhm.
personally?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question.
And I'm going to go, I mean, I haven't counted it up, but I'm
Yeah.
probably going to go within the region of about 20 that have
Yeah.
been personally proved to me.
I think most people know or think talking to you now kind of changes my perspective. Instead of saying I know, of course, now I'm saying I think or believe. But I think most people have heard of like other people talking about the Greys or Arcturians or Pleiadians or the ones that look like insects. I don't know what they would be called, but I think that most people or some people have like heard of those, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering though. I mean, I know some people claim they have seen them or have been abducted to a spaceship and or interact with them on a regular basis. But why? What do you think why there is not full contact or full disclosure yet? Do you think because people here would panic, or is it because our government or the governments of every country in this world is trying to keep that from us? I mean, I mean, as long as they're friendly, I would say, let's do this.
Yeah.
I can't wait. You know what I mean? So it's like, why have we not seen them, or why can't we just be friends, or like everybody getting along? I guess it sounds really corny in a way, but I would love for the aliens to come down and we're all just like hang out. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I would totally be up for that. But why have we not done
Yeah.
this, or why would they not do this for us or with us? That's it. You know what I'm trying to.
Yeah. Well, the answer is they can look at humanity and they can see how humanity is. And
Not
it's
well.
they can
Not
look
well.
they can look and see how humans treat each other.
Yeah, you're right.
And they can think, well, what would happen if we invited humanity into their communities? And what would happen is humans would go, I mean, not all humans, there are good
No,
humans, there are,
but I know what you mean. Yes.
people would go into their civilizations, into their communities, with a lot of hatred, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of beliefs. A lot of people believe they're demons, for example, and people would go in and be attacking them. Um, people would be trying to exploit them, and in fact, that's already happening. People would be looking at their species as from the perspective of what can they give to us? How can they help us?
Mm-hmm.
Can they save us? Can they save us from ourselves? Um, can we get their technology? And um, and also humans would be going into their civilizations and trying to convert them to our belief systems.
Oh my God, you're right. You're absolutely right. It has been done before, not with the aliens, but I mean, in history, when you look back, yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So aliens look at humanity and think, no, we don't want anything to do with that.
I don't blame them.
I mean, would you jump into the Pacific Ocean where there are great white sharks and try and make friends with a great white shark? It might not work out the way you hope it to. You're a
Yes.
peaceful, loving person,
Uh,
who just wants to be peaceful.
you're
But
right. That is
they might
funny.
not. So that's why we don't. That's why
Mm-hmm.
humanity as a whole does not have this relationship with these beings. However, they're very intelligent, they're very perceptive, they're telepathic, they're empathic, they're spiritually empathic, and they can look at individual people like you, like
Mm-hmm.
me, like
Mm-hmm.
anyone on this planet, and they can see with telepathic and empathic certainty who that person is with great clarity. And if they see somebody whom they think, yeah, that's the kind of person I'd like to be friends with, um, then they will and they do become friends with those people. There are
Mm-hmm.
millions of people on this planet who are interacting with these beings in positive ways.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time that is because these beings are seeing something more ascended about these individuals, so, something constructive that can come out of being in a friendship with these people.
Yeah. Do you think our government or other governments on this planet are aware of them and they're interacting and maybe even get technology from them in return for other things or
Absolutely, I think that's been going on for probably 70 years or more, and we have, when I say we, some of the people in the industrial military complex,
mm-hmm.
um, they have a reverse engineered alien tech, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that probably a lot of the UFOs or UAPs that are sighted nowadays, a lot of those are human made, human piloted, alien reverse engineered technology, which
Wow.
makes it hard to tell now what is actually human and what is non-human.
Understand.
But yeah, 100%, that's been proved many times over.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. I heard, I mean, I can't say I watch a lot of TV, but when I do, I watch like paranormal shows and things like that. So um, I've heard or seen where people talk about some of the extraterrestrials, they come here just to take a vacation. Some come here not just to observe us or you know, look at us, they come here for our planet and just maybe hang out a little bit, take a vacation, and then go back home. Do you think some of them do that just for fun, or do you think they're all like scientifically interested, or things like that, or
Yeah, I'm sure that some of them would do that. I have no proof of that, but
yeah?
I'm sure that that would happen. I think if you were a squirrel in the middle of a forest and
Mm-hmm.
you saw humans, we as squirrels could speculate, why are these people in the forest? Have they
Mm-hmm.
come to save us? Have they come
Mm-hmm.
to eat us? Why are they here in the forest? And of course, there's lots of reasons why people could
Mm-hmm.
be in the forest. They might be just
Sure.
hiking in the forest. They might be visiting for vacation. They might be scientists going into the forest to study. Um, they might be soldiers going into the forest for training, or that might be hunters. There's lots of reasons why people could go into a forest,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's the true with. I think the
Mm-hmm.
same is true of extraterrestrials, aliens, and some people just live in the forest. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of extraterrestrials. I think there's a lot of aliens around us. Maybe I wouldn't call these ones extraterrestrials. A lot of aliens around us who live here. We've encountered aliens that live under the ground. There's a species called goblins that we know about. There's another
Wow.
species called antians. There's a range of different species who live under the ground, in our oceans, in mountains, in the atmosphere, in the space around this planet, and in all of those places in higher dimensional spaces. So a lot of them just live here.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time when people ask the question, why are aliens here? My answer would be, um, they just are. This is where they live. They've been here hundreds of thousands of years. This is where they live. They haven't come
So
here for you, to save you, to hurt you, to eat you, to teach you. They're just here.
because we're not all that. I mean, I think
Yeah,
our human ego always wants to think that we're like all that, and they come
yeah,
here to either like hurt us or they want something. I think some just, I guess, like you said, they just live here.
yeah.
But maybe then that doesn't make them aliens anymore if they live here. Don't you think?
It depends on how we define the words.
Oh, okay.
I use the word alien because it doesn't specify terrestrial or extraterrestrial.
Oh,
Alien
okay.
just means different from us.
Wow. Okay.
And so there are things on this planet, for example, that I'm not sure if they're terrestrial or extraterrestrial.
Mm-hmm.
Orbs, for example.
Yes. So we need to
Um,
talk about that.
yeah, so I would call orbs alien,
Yeah.
but I don't know where they come from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. One more. I mean, I know we need to get into the orbs because I can hear them and they're tapping on my shoulder, and that's something we talked about before we
Hmm.
came on the show. But Here's a weird, funny question I want to ask. And I think you kind of answered it in a previous answer. But if aliens are so far advanced with technology, why do their spaceships crash? Is it because maybe because it's reverse engineered and we haven't really figured out um, maybe it's human flying them? You know what I mean? If they're so far advanced, why would they crash on this crappy planet, so to speak? I mean, it's like I don't know. You know?
Well,
Oh,
when human beings, we keep improving our technologies,
uh huh.
our our vehicle technologies, but
Mm-hmm.
all of our vehicles crash at some point. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's things do go wrong, and when we encounter situations that are unexpected, like when alien craft first encountered human high energy radar. Uh,
Mm,
that was probably what happened in Roswell, for example, where there were some crashes there. Then maybe that messes with their systems and they crash. But
interesting.
also maybe their technology is not that far ahead of ours.
Oh, okay.
Like these are not gods, they're not perfect, they're not
I see.
infallible. Um, things go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Craft do
Mm-hmm.
crash. Maybe it's just an assumption that, in 1,000
Yeah.
years from now, our technology would be perfect. It's probably not gonna be.
Probably not. No. That's a good answer. That's a good one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I don't have any more question because I feel like the interference is coming in strong.
Mm.
Um, so I want to talk about the blue orbs, and maybe you can tell the viewers a little bit because it's really your footage that I've seen that kind of led into what we talked about right before we came on the show. And there was another video or like a Zoom meeting that you and I ended up to be just the only ones. But if you want to just explain your footage for just a few moments, and then if you want to ask questions, I would be happy to get into that for you and the viewers and, them because they're kind of tapping me on the shoulder here.
Yeah. So about a month ago, I visited Sedona, Arizona, and there was a certain place in Sedona that I had heard is a hotspot for alien and paranormal activity, and that place is Bradshaw Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Bradshaw Ranch is a bit like Skinwalker Ranch. It just seems to be this focal point for paranormal and alien activity. So I drove there. I arrived late at night. I got there about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I it was very, very dark, so I turned on my night vision camera and I'm walking around looking. And as I moved my camera in front to point in the direction of the entrance to Bradshaw Ranch, I noticed a little something odd in my vision,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't sure what it was. And so I thought maybe this is a lens flare, um, light bouncing around inside the camera. So I moved my lamp around a little bit to see if it would move the object, but it didn't. It stayed in the same place. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not a lens flare, and it started to drift up into the air. And I thought, oh, is this some kind of just a piece of fluff or an insect or something? And it didn't look like an insect. It was probably about this sort of size. It was blue. It was diffuse, and I s- I thought, well, this is looking like an orb, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to start
Mm-hmm.
talking. And I said to the camera, "Hey, do you see that orb?" And then I addressed the orb itself, and I said, "Hello." And at that point, immediately it changed its direction and it came back down to me. And at this point, I was pretty certain I am I am really communicating with
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something non-human, some
Yeah.
kind of paranormal entity. I could see in the video that I could see through the camera that there were moths and insects and things around, but they looked distinctly different.
Mm-hmm.
This was not a moth or an insect. So I started talking to this
Yeah.
orb, and I'm coming up with questions on the spot to see if I can initiate a conversation, and it didn't respond back to me. Um, at least not telepathically, not verbally, but this
Right.
movement seemed to be responding to what I was saying. And yeah, I'm starting to feel a presence here.
Yeah, I can tell. I can feel it.
And so, just for over a minute, I communicated with it, and then I said, "I'm going to move closer to you." And as I said that, it flew straight at me,
Hmm.
flew past my head, and I've got all this on video, and you've seen the video
Yes,
footage.
yes.
Um, and that was my encounter with an orb.
Wow.
Do you have the video here? Is that something
I
you?
don't have it uploaded. I know, I mean, for the viewers out there, Rupert was kind enough to share this with me. And I'm going to have it uploaded in a previous, not a previous, in a future episode, only because, well, first of all, it's Rupert's footage, and he was kind enough to trust me with it. And I want to make sure that I get this right, and I want to listen to the presence and see what it is they want me to do with it, and how they want me to not edit, but kind of how they want me to make this episode. So it's going to be a future episode where I show the video. I'm going to have maybe a little blurb before, just explaining it to the people who have not watched this episode. And then I'm going to show this Zoom meeting where it was you and I, where I started channeling their answers. But I want to make sure that it's just, I treat it with respect, if that makes sense. So that's why I haven't uploaded it to this one.
Yeah, that
So, but
makes
yeah,
sense.
I will show it in a future episode. But yeah, and I know that you invited several people to a Zoom meeting because you wanted to talk about this little footage, this footage and this video, and it just ended up for other people not coming on for whatever reasons, and it was just you and I, and all of a sudden, I felt this presence, and I started channeling answers to your questions, and it's just kind of like history from there. I mean, it's just the rest is history. So I think what I'm hearing from them and the email exchanges I had with you is that we're kind of going forward with um I don't even know what to call that, but I guess with the contact that you established and answering their answering questions that you have for them, or whatever it is that they, I guess, have for you. I don't know how to explain it really.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I connect with these beings, my
Hmm.
purpose for connecting with them is to establish friendships with them.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's why I was successful
Hmm.
with the orb, and I'm talking to the orb. Some people who have seen these orbs out there, they said
Hmm.
they were amazed when they saw my video because they said usually they just disappear off, but this one stayed with me, and
Yeah.
it must have liked me. They thought.
Yeah.
Um, so so this was an initial contact, but I feel that that's just the start.
I believe so.
There's
Yes.
more to this
Hmm. Yes.
communication, deepening of friendships. I'm
Hmm.
gonna call it, and to see what they want, to
Hmm.
see what I can do for them.
Right.
That's really what this is about. Do they want
Right.
me, for example, to be a a bridge between
Hmm.
them and humanity?
The
Do
answer is yes. I mean, I have to throw this in because, like I said, they are here. I feel the presence, and every time I have contact with you, I feel their presence. So it's kind of like a link. If I don't know, they're kind of linking people together,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm sorry, but the answer is yes. And so I just had to throw this in. I didn't mean to
Thank
interrupt
you.
you, but they are interrupting. So
Yeah. So, give me another yes or no if you think that this is correct or not.
mm-hmm.
One thing I can do is I can teach humans how to connect with them, ha and basically, the way to connect with them effectively is through peace, through a desire for mutual well-being. It's not about exploitation, it's not about, using, it's not about getting their technology, it's simply about, um, if you do enter into these communications with the right frame of mind, if you're peaceful, caring, loving, if you're non-discriminatory, then that's an important message that I could show humanity. This is the way that it's done.
Okay. So what I'm hearing from them is it's not about you teaching them how to communicate because every person on this planet communicates in a different way. And your way of communicating may not resonate with somebody else's way of communicating. It's kind of being a reader. When you connect with spirit, I mean, everybody gets their messages or answers in a different way. Some people have it, they see it, they feel it, they hear it. So it's different. It's not about you teaching humanity how to communicate with aliens. It's about you preparing humanity for them and show them the possibilities that they may have or receive if they just be open and open-minded to what's really out there. Like you're expanding their minds or open their hearts to more, if that
Mm-mm.
makes sense. So it's not about you teaching somebody, it's more about you preparing them. So teaching is not the right word, it's preparing.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Do you think that these orbs are able to see future possibilities?
Yes. And I'm an Akashic record reader, so the Akasha is the universal knowledge of everything that's out there. And when you asked that last question, immediately they gave me the word just tap into the Akasha. And what I know is that every single planet out there has its own Akashic record library, so to speak. And I'm sorry, what was your question? They keep giving me information, and I forget what you were
Yeah.
asking.
Can they
Um,
see future possibilities?
yes. So the future in the Akasha, what is stored is past, present, and future possibilities, and that is the same for every single planet out there. It's the same for every single um, life form out there. So when I do a reading for someone, like a human being, they ask me, for example, will I get this job? Or if I move here, what are the options or what are the possibilities? So the Akasha gives them all the possibilities, all the future possibilities, but it's always up for the people or the person to decide where they want to go. Because one thing I know for sure, and they're kind of like confirming that, is that the universe operates on free will. So yes, they do see future possibilities, but it's always up to us or the entity or the human being or whatever species may be out there to make this decision for themselves. It's always free will, if that answers your question.
Yeah. So do they foresee a future possibility involving me and them that they are um, promoting or encouraging or hoping we can move towards?
Yes. And what they're saying is like it goes back to the word preparing. They've been preparing you for that up until this point. So everything that you have encountered in the past, even the lows or what we in a human form perceive as setbacks or difficulties or trauma, it was all to prepare you for a certain outcome or to this point to be open to them coming into your life. Okay. And so nothing, what I'm hearing is like nothing was an accident. Everything that has happened to you or everything that you experienced in your life, even your education, it had to be a certain way for you to come to this point. So there's no accident. There is no, I don't have a good word for it. Everything was orchestrated, if that makes sense. Okay. So it was, you already came into this world by birth and they already knew that they will have to prepare you from the time you were born up until now for a certain contact or for this contact, because it takes a lot to have contact with an alien life form. Like you said before, they are very, it is hard to put human words on this divine message that I'm hearing. So I'm trying my best. But what I'm hearing is they're very highly evolved. It's not about technology, it's about their consciousness, okay? And it takes a lot for a human being in our 3D form to step up to that plate. So it took you almost a lifetime to get to that point. So everything they did or everything that you encountered or went through or experienced was for you to become an ambassador. They give me the word ambassador.
Cool.
Okay.
That's a good word.
It's kind of like your life, your mission, your life's mission.
Yeah. So do you feel that this particular species, this
Mm-hmm.
species of blue orb,
Mm-hmm.
they have shown an interest in me personally
Mm-hmm.
going back throughout my life
Yes.
because
Yes.
they can see that at, at this moment in time now we start to interact, and that becomes useful in preparing humanity.
Yes. What I'm hearing is like time is relative. This is the sentence they're giving me. Okay. Time really doesn't exist the way we humans look at it. So when you were born, or even before your soul entered this 3D body, this particular species already saw the possibility or the outcome for you at a certain point. Okay, so because it's not about waiting to see what happens when you grow up or while you grow up, they don't leave anything up to chance. Okay, so
Mhm.
it was already predetermined before your soul entered this three body that this is what's going to happen. And I don't know your age, but maybe, I don't know, like 30, 40 years down the road. Okay, so this was not, hey, we found somebody that's kind of fits our wants and needs. Okay, it,
Mhm.
it doesn't happen that way. Okay,
Mhm.
you were already like, you already had us. What I'm hearing is it's funny how they communicate, but it's like they already gave you a stamp on your forehead before you were even born. Okay, it's always like, okay, he's ours, right? So that's the only way I can describe it. It was predetermined that you're going down this path.
Well, okay. Now, I am going to return to that location,
Mm-hmm.
and I leave on Tuesday. So I will
Mm-hmm.
probably arrive there on Wednesday. Wednesday night, if
Mm-hmm.
all goes to plan, I am going to walk back out alone to that location. Um, could I Is it reasonable to expect to be met by one or more of those orbs again? Do you think they might be there if I show up at the same place?
So what I'm hearing is like there is a possibility, but they also want to make you aware of it's not just about sight, it's about presence. So you may feel more this time than seeing. Okay? So we all have senses, right? It's seeing, smell, hearing, tasting. So they want to make you aware that they can communicate with you in any or all of the senses. It's not just seeing. So they want you to prepare yourself to maybe even feel them, hear them, or sense them. Okay, so don't, because as human beings, what I'm hearing right now, as human beings, we have a tendency to just focus on one thing. Oh, I saw a blue orb this time, so from here on out, I just want to see blue orbs and nothing else. That's not how that works. They want to kind of prepare you for more, like sensing them or even psychically connect with them. So if you don't see a blue orb, most likely you will, but if you don't, it doesn't mean they don't communicate with you. So they want you to be a little bit more open to all the other
Okay.
possibilities. Okay.
Do they have the ability, given my limited telepathic skills, do they have the
Hmm.
ability to place communications in my mind telepathically so that I can understand their meaning, their words?
Yes. Um, and what I'm hearing is you being a scientist, again, that was planned. And the reason for that is so they can communicate with you on a higher level. They can give you the words that maybe I don't know because
Mm,
I don't have a scientific background. So I'm struggling to kind of explain things. But you do have that. So that was not an accident. And so they will be able to communicate scientifically in a psychic way, if that makes sense. So they can give you words and things that make sense to you, but maybe not to somebody else.
Awesome. That does
So
make
the
sense.
answer
Yeah.
is yes, yes. But I'm
Cool.
also hearing you need to give yourself more credit, because what I'm hearing is like you are a scientist, and scientists have a way of, and I wouldn't say, I don't know if you do that or not, but you have a way of discrediting things when it comes to yourself. You believe other psychics or mediums, but when you hear something, you have a tendency of saying, "Oh, that's I'm not good enough for this," or I'm not experienced enough in this." And they're saying that that is not correct. You are enough, you are experienced enough to communicate telepathically. You just have to like believe in yourself a little bit more. It's not all about science and proving. It's also about believing. And I know you said you don't believe in anything, but they're kind of encouraging you to believe in yourself a little bit more, that you are able to do this.
Okay. I understand that.
Hmm.
May I ask them a question or two?
Sure.
In that location in the Bradshaw Ranch area, approximately how many orbs are there? Is there just like one or two, three or four, like ambassadorial orbs, or is it like a population of tens of thousands, or anywhere in between?
That's a good question. So what I'm hearing is, as far as like other species and orbs, they can't really give me any answer to that, because it's only about them at the moment, between them and you. And so I do see they're talking about green lights as well. So I don't know if it has something to do with them, or if it's somebody else or something else that's out there, but I'm seeing green lights that are floating around, or green, um, almost like a fissure in time, if that makes sense. Okay,
Mm,
green lights that are kind of like a split in time, or a split in a dimension. So they're talking about that. So they're saying this is out there. Um, but for now, they want you to focus on them. Not everything is an orb. And the reason why they showed you a blue orb is because this is kind of what they look like. This is what their home planet looks like. And it's a light blue planet where everything has like a bluish shade. So this is kind of like their, for a lack of a better word, it's their signature color.
mm,
Okay. And so, but I do see green lights, a green like cut in a dimension where somebody could actually step through and disappear. There's so many people who disappeared, and nobody, without a trace. And those are portals or fissures in time that kind of open up and people walk through, sometimes on purpose because they think, they can come back, and then they can't find their way back. But sometimes they step through by accident. And this is kind of how um, some people disappear without a trace, and nobody knows what happened to them. It's not always about abduction. It's not always about them being taken against their will. They just step into those portals that open up, um, and they can't find their way back, or they don't want to come back. It's very
mm,
simple, sometimes as simple as that. They don't want to come back because they're in a different dimension, and they're like, you know what, I'm about to stay. Plus, time is different. So just always remember, time is something that's a human construct that we made up here. And when they step through a portal like that, or something that opens up, time on that other side is so different for them over there. If they land there, and I know we're going down a rabbit hole, but this is kind of what I'm hearing. For them, it feels like maybe just like 5 or 10 minutes, but on this side where we are looking for those missing people, it's maybe 5 or 10 years, or maybe 50 years. For us, it's like, okay, they're gone forever. But on the other side where they may land, it's maybe 5 or 10 minutes for them.
mm.
And so there are so many things out there that we don't understand. And that's kind of what I'm hearing from them. So just be careful with those things. I would personally would like for you to come back. So don't try not to step into one of those portals, but they are out there. So that's kind
Mm,
of what I'm hearing from them.
okay. I will be careful.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I suppose that one thing that's also on my mind is how do I address them? Do we just keep referring to them as little blue orbs? Um, if there's more than one of them, I mean, they're probably telepathic. They probably don't use names, but sometimes species create names for us to
Yes,
use
they
to
do.
identify individuals.
So, you know, when I saw that video and when we talked earlier or like a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to tune in and find a name, something that we can call them or something that you can call them. And I have not been successful in finding one. I
Okay.
feel like they're trying to communicate with me and give me something that we can call them, but I'm not quite there yet. Okay.
Okay.
So maybe it will be revealed to me or you maybe even, here in the near future, but as of right now I don't have it. But they're okay with calling them the blues at the moment.
Okay.
And also what I'm hearing is like what I'm hearing is, and again, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know, I don't have proof, but what I'm hearing is like we use math to explain a lot of things that's happening in the universe, but really the universal language is sound or frequency. And so even their name would be a frequency that we can't really label a name to it, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but for now, they're good with the blues.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
good. Wow, that was really good. I mean, I know I didn't have a script when we started talking. I always just let things flow and I let spirit guide me with questions and what's coming through in these episodes. Um, but gosh, Rupert, thank you so much for making time. And this was such an enjoyable conversation and everything else that came through. And I really enjoy your answers. It makes so much sense. And um, thank you so much for making time. And I'm really excited about um, the future episodes where you will be on, hopefully.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me, and yeah, I will keep you posted
Mm-hmm.
when I get to Sedona. I'll let you know what's going on, and
Yeah.
if you receive any messages, any impulses, then pass them along.
I will definitely do that. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Okay. Bye
fabulous.
bye.
Thank you.
No
Have a good
problem.
day.
Bye.
Bye.